welcome to On the Last Episode, the podcast for English learners who like movies and series. Here you can improve your English and have fun with our episodes and exercises. This is episode number 11, Arrival, More Than an Alien Invasion, with our host Jennifer. This episode is brought to you by OLC Club, your language club.
Good morning, people. How are you this week? So, do you have plans for Carnival yet? Are you going to party, or maybe where you live it's all the same? So, it's just a normal weekend for you guys? Well, like I said last week, I'm not really going to party, although here in Florianopolis, where I live, we have a special kind of carnival lately. How can I say, we have electronic carnival, if you want. Of course, we still have some places where we have like the original kind of carnival, but every single year more and more amazing DJs are coming. So, and I must say I love this kind of music, but yeah, no, this year I'm just way too tired to go to any party, especially 3, 4, 5 days straight like I used to do. But yeah, so what I will do is stay home, and I already started watching Prison Break and I am loving it. I must say, I guess, I don't know, back then when it was playing on TV, I thought maybe it was going to be too violent, or I don't know. But well, after watching Game of Thrones, not many things seem very violent, huh? And the story is really great, and the way they're developing the characters, I must admit I'm loving it. Of course, I'm still on season 1, so I still have quite a few episodes to go, but yeah, I really want to finish it before the revival comes out in March. So we will see. So yeah, I will probably focus my carnival watching Prison Break and maybe also X-Files, because after talking about the revival last week, I started wondering how it would be to watch it all over again now. So yeah, maybe, although there are so many new ones to watch too, so it's always kind of hard to decide. But well, so today we are going to talk about a movie. Yeah, I had decided in the beginning that I was going to usually talk about movies in the blog and talk about series in the podcast, but what the hell? This movie is so amazing, and it really deserves like a whole podcast about it, because I was so positively surprised by it. I love sci-fi movies. I am a big fan of sci-fi movies, because of the special effects and the way they showed a possible future. And when I decided to watch Arrival, I thought it was just going to be another one, because even when you see the trailer, when you don't read a lot about it, when you just saw the trailer and you hear a little bit about it, you think it's just going to be another sci-fi movie where you have a bunch of aliens coming to Earth and trying to invade. So this is how I started watching it. But from the start, you see that's not exactly what this movie is all about. Actually, if I think hard about it, the movie is not really about aliens. Funny, huh? Because, I mean, yeah, the whole plot seems to go around the fact that 12 spacecrafts, well, alien spacecrafts, they land on Earth on various sites in various countries. And so people from all those countries, they have to try and understand what are they doing there. I mean, are they peaceful? Are they here to invade? What is going on? And the story goes from there. But the more you watch, the clearer it gets to you that yeah, aliens are a big part of it, but if you really go a little bit deeper, the main idea, the thing that the goal of the movie is not really to discuss aliens, is to discuss communication, is to discuss how we deal with working together, like as in different cultures. And it also focuses a lot on love, maybe we could say, and relationships. But it's just amazing, really. I mean, I love the movie. I will probably have to watch it again now with different eyes and pay attention to a few details and things that I did not the first time. But if you have not watched it because you thought, well, yeah, I already watched so many alien invasion movies, it's just going to be more of the same. No, you're wrong. I was wrong. You're wrong. And it is totally worth it. It is a very brainy movie, if you want. It really brings you to think and maybe question a few things. And also it goes deeper into human relationships. So let me try and summarize a little bit better what goes on in Arrival. So we have those 12 spacecrafts that land on Earth, and they don't really go all the way down to the ground, okay? They sort of float above the ground. So this is something that already makes you think, well, what's going on? So they are a little bit different. And also every 18 hours there is a hatch on those spacecrafts and they open so people can enter the spaceship and have contact with those aliens. But there is like a glass dividing where the aliens are and where humans are. And there you start having those questions. Okay, so why is it? Is it because they cannot breathe in our atmosphere, or is it because they don't want contact? I mean, there are a lot of questions that you have in the beginning. Some of them you will still have by the end. But so, and there inside the spaceship, it's like gravity works a little bit differently. It's really great scene when they go in for the first time, and then all of a sudden the angle of the camera changes, because instead of like being, it's a bit like in space where, although yeah, no, it's not really like in space because they're not floating exactly. It's like, well, they were going up because those spaceships, they are standing tall, okay? And so they were going up with the help of a hanger or something. And then all of a sudden, when they reach a point inside it, gravity changes and they can actually walk on the wall like they're walking on the ground. So then the angle of the camera changes, so we have the impression they are just walking on the ground normally when they're not. And so those aliens, they are called heptapods, and they are a mixture of a few animals we have, like squid and spider and whale, especially whale, by the way they communicate. It really sounds like whales and dolphins, well, the language, okay? And mangroves. And the way they find to communicate with humans is through some sort of written language, because, well, talking was not really working. But the way they communicate in a written way is very different from the way we do it. They use symbols that look a lot like what you would have when you have a coffee mug and that leaves a stain, for example. Okay, it looks a lot like it, and inside those sort of stains that they use to communicate, they have like whole sentences. It's not like every single of those symbols represents a word. No, the whole symbol represents the idea they want to give. So that makes things very interesting, because we have a linguist. The name of the actor is, she's so amazing, her name is, what's her name? Her name is Amy Adams. Okay, so we have Amy Adams, and she is brilliant, and she plays a linguist who is specialized in translating. Okay, so she has to figure out a way to understand their language. So she starts teaching them a few simple ideas, a few simple words, starting by my name is, I am human. And of course this takes time, right? Because the pod only opens every 18 hours and they don't get to stay inside for very long. So to really build and teach each other's languages, it is a slow process, because she has to make sure that they understand what a question is. She has to make sure they understand the difference, for example, between you and your, so single and plural as well. If she is just talking about one of those aliens, or about the whole race of aliens. And I loved watching the way she did, and of course also to see how the military, they were like, oh my god, it's going too slow, can't you do anything to make it go quicker? And she said, no, I'm sorry, that's the process, because in the future, if I want to ask them, for example, for the purpose, I have to be sure that they understand what that means. Otherwise, things could go very wrong. Like, for example, later on, when they're already communicating a little bit better, and that comes to a point where she really has to ask why they're there, and they reply, give weapon, or something similar. And so how do you interpret that? I mean, are they saying they're here to give a weapon, or are they saying you have to give me a weapon? Or how do they even understand weapon? Is weapon a tool? Is weapon something that you use to hurt or not? So for me, I'm a big lover of languages, so it was very nice to see the way they worked around this language and communication problem. And it is a good reminder on just how sometimes when people get the wrong ideas, I mean, if they are not really talking the same language, or if they are trying to send a message, give a message, but they don't use the right words, it could be misunderstood. And this is just so amazing, because even when they're talking the same language, sometimes one word can have one meaning for me and a completely different meaning for someone else. And we tend to forget things like that. or for example also the way they focus on the necessity of, because on earth we don't have like one single ruler, right? Every single country has a president or a minister or someone who decides and is the big boss. And because we don't have like this one world leader that those aliens could talk to, this is one of the theories that maybe they sent so many because they had to try with a few different nations, cultures, peoples to communicate and give the message, because they did not have just one person to go and talk to. So, and then at that point, when we have, well, we had those 12, but if I'm not mistaken, we did not really have 12 countries. We had like maybe 10 countries, because in Russia there were 2, and I think some other countries we had, I think USA, they also had 2. And you see that in the beginning they were all communicating and exchanging some sort, even if it wasn't a lot, they were exchanging information. But then when they start communicating with those aliens and they start getting spooked about what they are saying, everyone starts to shut down the system, and then no one is talking anymore. And well, then the Chinese or the Russian, I think it was the Chinese, they decide those aliens are there and they are aggressive and they are going to take them down. And some other countries say, okay, if you do that, we will follow. But instead of really agreeing as humankind, each country then starts to decide, okay, I will do it, I will not do it. And this lack of union maybe really was a problem. And so yeah, the movie really just, if you want, you can use this movie to discuss about so many things, about just how we humans have a lack of union, or how we should work better between cultures and countries, better communication, better understanding maybe as well, and also trusting, that would be nice. And also communication in itself, how communication is important, and also how when there are problems in the communication that can create big misunderstandings. And also, I mean, there is something that bugs you all the time during the movie, is because the main character, the linguist, she keeps having flashes from a very painful experience in her life. And as those flashes keep happening, as she keeps seeing those scenes, slowly you realize that those events, they have to be related to what is going on with the aliens. But it's only in the end that you get the full picture. And then I was blown away. Because, well, I don't know what I would have done. But it's the moment. Well, I really don't want to give you guys spoilers, but it really was for me like a wow moment when I realized what those flashbacks or flashes meant. And really, I don't know how people usually would react to something like this if it happened to every single one of us. something similar. But at that point is where they give this big focus on human relationships. And the actress, she did an amazing job. I mean, the whole you can really see on her face the whole stress of what is going on. I mean, in the beginning, because of the unknown, because she doesn't know what to expect from the aliens, but as she grew sort of, well, it's not that she became used to them, because I guess it would take more than a few days to get used to talking to aliens. But as the situation became more normal, the one thing that stressed her the most was that she knew she needed results quickly. She couldn't just take all the time in the world to teach them the language and also to understand their language. And how this affected her is, it's just amazing, really. You can see how, from the shaking of the hands, the nightmares, her face, and the fatigue that it all caused. Well, I mean, I could go on here still talking for another half an hour, if you allow me, but as we're trying to do smaller episodes, especially when I am alone without a guest, I think I will stop here. And I mean, what can I say? Just, if you have not watched it yet, please go and watch it. It is an amazing movie. I mean, people who like adrenaline will love it. People who like sci-fi will love it. People who like clever movies will like it. People who like, not very well, people like romance will like it too, because I mean, it's not that there is romance inside it, but like I said, they focus a lot on human relationship. And the way they did it, it's so beautiful, really. So guys, oh, before I forget, we are on Stitcher now, so go on and look for us. And there will be the link also on the show notes, okay? And as always, please go to our website on thelast-episode.com for the transcripts, for the exercises, for the flashcards and vocab list, okay? And also just give us a review or leave a comment, be it on the website, on Stitcher, or where it's easier for you. Okay, guys? So have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next week on the next episode.